Well, in terms of like business growth, I found this ironic. Mike Sievert used the word secure to describe why T-Mobile is looking to garner market share in business and enterprise. He used the word secure.
I'm
Isn't
sorry. I'm sorry, but
that crazy? Like,
T-Mobile doesn't have a hope and a prayer of garnering business. They might get small businesses like companies with less than 100 employees, but there's
No, no,
no
no, no,
way.
no. Did you hear what Collie Field said?
yeah, man. She
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 said
was
they are getting business with banks that are going to use them for security.
yeah
Did you hear that?
yeah
Make sure you let me know what banks partner so I never make an account with them.
yeah. She used the term the term secure was thrown around that earnings call very freely, and I think unjustly. Like, I mean, are we that tone deaf? Hacks and source code, and I mean, come on, man.
Dude, T-Mobile's level of security is like installing a lock on a door but constantly never locking it. Yeah, there's a
T-Mo-
lock there, but the door is still open.
This is crazy. T-Mobile is so many things. They're scrappy. They're fighters. They're competitors. That they're working really hard to build a network and to just compete. There's so many good things, but secure is not one of them. You have to
On
call a spade a spade. There's just no version of the company that you could describe as being secure.
Honestly, I just want to say, I'm going on the record saying this, no telecom company, in my opinion, is actually secure. You've got bad with Verizon, slightly worse with AT&T, and then wow, you really lowered the bar at T-Mobile when it comes to security in my personal eyes. I don't think any telecom company can say they're actually secure for 2022 standards.
Yeah. Actually, I had people message me, and I don't know if you guys have heard this, but apparently AT&T and Verizon were also a part of that source code hack.
Yeah, so we have to see what comes of that, what they got, and what they're doing with it, and
Yeah.
well, yeah, we'll report it when that becomes available. Something that we're
Yep.
watching for sure.
That's what people
Um,
messaged me right away. AT&T and Verizon were a part of it. You didn't say that. I was like, I didn't know.
yeah, it wasn't. We only report what's out there. We don't have internal documentation of these hacks. Like we don't
Yeah.
know these things. When news outlets cover it, we cover it.
Yeah.
And the only
And
way we
often,
find out, is if someone in the audience actually reaches out to us in Twitter DMs or something like that. And a lot of times, at least for me personally, I try to wait to not get anybody in trouble.
yeah. Now you mentioned Callie Field, and one of the things she spoke to was they've got all these underrated, underrepresented segments. The business side, I think it was Mike Sievert spoke to rural America. John Fryer spoke to retail. Home
Yeah.
broadband came up a couple of times. They made it very clear that there are opportunities for them across the entire industry and all of its angles where they plan on getting in there and improving their position. So, for example, in rural America, they're going to upgrade towers, they're going to build retail locations, and they're going to sell. And in the case of business, they're underrepresented. Verizon kills it in business. AT&T absolutely kills it in business. They want to take their stake, and they said they want to shoot for like 20% market share there. Those are lofty goals. They said they want to get there. I don't know if they ever get to 20%, but I bet you they get pretty close, Tyrone, eventually.
On the business
Yeah, I
or
think
the rural?
20% in a market of 3 companies, I think it's doable.
It's
You're
doable,
saying for
Sneed,
rural or
but
business? Can you hear me?
Business.
yeah, we can hear you,
Business. Oh,
Tickler.
they're hitting high win rates. They're going to beat that. They're going to guide up on that soon. They're already doing test trials with 20 plus companies, and there's going to be some surprises in there, I'm told. It's going to be the type of surprise where you're going to say, they went with T-Mobile? Really? That's the type of surprise that's going to be in there.
I'm a little less optimistic. I think it's doable, but like, I'm gonna put it this way: even if T-Mobile literally hands down had the best network ever seen on God's green earth in the U.S., it would literally take a decade, in my opinion, to actually start converting enough large businesses to get that 20% mark that you're talking about, Sneed. Because businesses are slow, and they got like long contracts with like Verizon and AT&T.
But that's
I mean,
that's the thing. Is they said they can get there at the current win rate by the guided 2020. That doesn't include any upside that they potentially get out of this. So I think they're guide up on that very soon.
I don't know. I think I know it's going to be odd hearing me say this, but honestly, I think that Dish being in the market and the things that I've heard what Dish is doing with companies, as well as what AT&T and Verizon have been doing, as well as what cable is doing, is going to make that more challenging. Because let's not forget, I think we talked about this at least a month ago, but we talked about an article that showed Comcast using their spectrum now for business use cases. If you remember that, Sneed.
Yeah.
So I think it's
there's
challenging.
competition from a lot of angles, right?
Yeah, there's a lot more competition. Honestly, there's more competition for the business customer, I'd say, than for the actual residential consumer. So it's going to be a tough fight if they get there, and I think it's going to be slow, just because of how the nature of how corporations work. Like with a consumer, you can win them over with a free phone. How do you actually win over a business customer? There actually has to be a real business justification need, and you need to be able to get in touch with the decision maker and convince them that it's going to be good for their company. And if it's a publicly held company with multiple different stakeholders, you got to convince multiple people to make that switch.
Good point, Dennis.